Hello and welcome to another edition from Box to Box TV. I'm your host Pete Diz, and today I'm going to talk about some more football related articles or issues. Just before I start, I just want to make it clear, this channel is unbiased. It's not a fan channel, so if you're upset by anything that I say and you think I've given someone or a team unfair shake, feel free to write in the comment section. We can have a chat about it if you're sensible. But yeah, I just wanted to make that point. But today, what I want to talk about, two Premier League footballers, because I think they share so many similarities, and the parallels are quite spooky, actually. And those two footballers are Angel Di Maria and Mesut Özil. Mesut Özil was signed last season for Arsenal in 2013, I believe, on the last day of the transfer window. So that would be like somewhere in September probably, for a club record fee of £42 million, or slightly over £42 million. And immediately I felt that there was a target put on his back. Immediately. A bit of the backstory here. He was rated probably as one of the 2 or 3 top attacking players in the Real Madrid team, and even some of the Real Madrid players were like reluctant to sell him, but he was sold and Arsenal bought him. But I felt that as soon as he was signed, there were questions raised, and there was an eagerness to answer them, and that eagerness was not a positive thing. There wasn't a clamour to say how great he was. There was a clamour to put that F word on him, and that F word is flop. And let's take you back to the kind of form he was shown in his early Prem career. We're still in his early Prem career, but at his very early stages. In his first few games, he laid on goal scoring chances after goal scoring chances, and I do believe, I think before Christmas he was near the top of the assist leagues. He finished the season with 12 assists, and I think he scored about 7 league goals. So officially he was involved in 19 goals for Arsenal, 19 league goals. Although the type of player that he is, second assists, which are generally not counted in the Premier League, which is more of a hockey term, the pass that leads to the assist, or an important pass that leads to an assist. He had plenty of those too. And it seemed around February 2014, so we're talking maybe 5-6 months after he signed. The knives were already out. What I'm going to do, I'm going to call out some of these journalists and some of these papers, and I'm going to put them in the description. And if I can find the links to stories, I'll add them too. Because around February there was a concerted effort to label Mesut Özil a flop. So we're talking 5-6 months after he signed for Arsenal, and he finishes the season. It was a respectable season. It was a good season. They weren't Lionel Messi numbers. They weren't Cristiano Ronaldo numbers. But what they were good, solid numbers in a good, solid team. There's something to build on. But there was a clamour at February. There were words used like bottler for Mesut Özil. I don't see where that comes into top level football. Like that terminology, bottler. He's a bottler. Like, there were headlines wrote about Mesut Özil as a bottler and as a flop from as early as February, and there was an itch. I could sense there was an itch before that to write that, but they were waiting. The facts are that the Premier League is a tough league, And Christmas generally will take, the Christmas fixture list will generally take a lot out of players, especially that are not used to the Premier League. So that's just, that we're seeing the same. Let's quickly change over to Angel Di Maria. We're seeing the same situation with Angel Di Maria. He started off the season phenomenally for United. He's currently got, I believe, 6 assists and 3 league goals. He might have scored in the cup. I believe he scored in the cup too. But it's not terrible. But it's not any better than Mesut Özil. But there is no clamour. There is no clamour. Let's give you a bit of a backstory to him. He signed from Real Madrid again at the start of this season in 2014. He started. Where am I? Sorry to lose you. He pretty much was seen as one of the 3 best attacking players from Real Madrid. When he was sold again, there was like a reluctance to sell him from fellow teammates, but he was sold. He was sold. He was signed for a club record fee, again mirroring the Mesut Özil situation. He was signed for a club record fee of £59 million, so nearly £60 million. And his stats, as I said, they're okay. I wouldn't say they're worrying at this stage, but his performance has tailed off. It has tailed off, and there is no way any kind of concerted effort to call him out, call him a flop or bottle or this or that, and it just makes me feel like, there's a lot of hypocrisy in the media in the UK, with the whole witch hunt of the awarding to Qatar and Russia for their respective World Cups. There was a lot of animosity and bitterness towards that, and they were asking for transparency. Even like in recent times, over the recent days, David Ginola, running for FIFA presidency, they were asking for transparency. A lot of articles criticising David Ginola for the fact that it now appears that he was being paid £250,000 by a betting syndicate. There's a lot of hypocrisy there with the British media, especially as football is sponsored heavily in the UK and in Europe by these betting companies, but apparently they're not fit enough to finance a FIFA presidential campaign, which is football related too. So I don't know. I don't know where we're going with this in football. I don't know where we're going. What's good for the goose is clearly not good for the gander. Clearly, but I back to Di Maria. I feel like his stats were, they're not worrying, but there is no clamour at all to deem him as a flop. And I just want to point out why this may be. Is it simply because he's a Manchester United player? Is it simply because there is some sort of anti-Arsenal agenda which has come from perhaps even before Wenger, but Wenger's perhaps from the George Graham days? Is that why? Because at this moment in time, I don't see Angel Di Maria having a better season than Mesut Özil did last season. I really don't see it, especially stats-wise. So you have to wonder, what is it? What are the press gaining? What are the media gaining from instantly or setting targets on players from Arsenal Football Club on their backs immediately as they sign? Whereas, a player from Manchester United is getting an easy ride. We're coming up to February now. If I ain't seen targets on Angel Di Maria's back, if his form continues, I'm going to keep this subject open. I'm out. Take care.